video, you're going to see a painting created in watercolor using the Magnolia blossom as a subject. And I drew directly from the flower, and you'll see my process and also my painting. In the beginning of this video, I'm going to be sketching the Magnolia flower on some sketch paper. And why I'm doing this is just to familiarize myself with the flower and the basic shapes and where I want there to be some darks and lights. I could draw directly on watercolor paper, but I don't want those pencil lines. And if I put them in even lightly, I have to be careful about erasing those lines. So this is a way I can work out the drawing of the flower and a little bit of shading and sort of just get familiar with it, so when I'm painting I have an idea of what I'm doing. I'm just about finishing up here, and the music in this part of the video is by my brother Eric Northcutt, who's a very talented musician who lives in Florida. Now I'm going to start to paint. What you're seeing here is a painting on 300-pound watercolor paper that doesn't require to be taped down because it's very heavy. I decided that I would draw very lightly the outline of the magnolia and then paint the background, including the leaves, this pink color. The leaves are pretty dark green, so I felt that I could get that green color over the red, and it might make an interesting contrast. Of course, red and green are complements. And so what I'm doing now is I'm just looking at those very light areas and I'm painting those shapes in. One of the things, because it's a magnolia, the petals are white, and that white is the white of the paper. I do not want to paint the areas that are white, so I'm painting the shadows, and the petals, as they curve, they're creating some color and some shadows. And I'm using primarily ultramarine blue with a little bit of burnt umber and some alizarin crimson. One of the other things is that wherever the dark fades out into, or I want it to transition and not be sharp, I have to remove some of that paint. Very important when you're removing it that you're not adding extra water. So I take the water off of my paintbrush, and then think about the brush being kind of like a sponge, and then it removes the extra moisture and the color. So you can control that transition if you are not adding the extra water. I'm finishing that section, and now because of the way a magnolia does once it's been cut, the blossom, it started to shrink up, so I had to go to my photographs. So you can see that there's a photo of the flower. It's not exactly the same angle as the one I was painting. But the other thing is I decided to paint the leaves off camera, and they don't look very green right now, but they are a little bit brighter, just the video doesn't show that. And I'm putting in a background, I'm putting some ultramarine over this pinkish color to create a purple, and I'll see what I think about that. What the flower looks like, the photograph, and this is where I am right now with this painting with the leaves and the purple background. So at this point now I am doing more refining. I did go and work on the center of the flower, which is a orange section, and I put in more detail in the different areas, and I'm now adding some darker values to the leaves and trying to create a little more depth there with the leaves. One of the things I did is I used a lot of different colors on the leaves, so some of them are more of a deeper green, some of them are more yellowy, and I just kind of left it like that because I thought it made it kind of interesting. So they weren't all exactly the same. I'm just about finished with this painting. I added a bit of colored pencil on the leaves at the end to add some highlights, and I took down the purple a little bit so it's not quite so dominant. Thanks for watching, and I've enjoyed showing you my painting process.